So I am out walking with my fucking selfie stick. Gonna make a little video. So okay, let's see. It is Sunday, and had so tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day. So right after this, I'm gonna go to a St. Patrick's Day little event. But wanted to give a little recap of something that I figured out this weekend, and I'm pretty excited about it. So basically, the idea sort of stems from my theories about the ethical systems, how you have deontology and consequentialism, which are absolute and relativistic ethical systems, respectively. So, the absolute ethical system is one where you have a list of rules and you refer to the rules for what you want. Like, refer to the rules to know what to do, what is ethical, and then a consequentialist or relativistic ethical system is basically you refer to other people for the rules for what to do, and that's what makes it relativistic, is that like other people always like basically it's always going to be relative to whatever other people think it is right or wrong, which is constantly changing. That's why it's relative. So basically what I figured out this weekend, we went to the club, me and a couple of friends, and there was this weird situation where okay, so basically actually more subtext, I guess, which is that like it's been clear to me for a while that there's like at least two different sort of like relational modes or conversational modes that exist, and one of them I haven't really thought of good language for this yet. So one of them is basically reciprocal. That's what I'm calling it for right now. I might change that later, but reciprocal conversational mode, where basically the rule is that you initiate with people, but you initiate like a tiny bit and then you wait for feedback. So it's like essentially like a call and response. You talk to them and then you are constantly sort of like initiating a little bit, but only enough to essentially like ask for permission with your. Let's see if I can get a view. It's a city in the background there. But yeah, only enough to ask for permission that you have come as far as you have, and as soon as they like give a response, like a positive response, then you can initiate again and like sort of grow closer. And that's like it's reciprocal, and usually the rule there is that like a neutral response is actually negative. If somebody gives a neutral response, that's a negative, and if they actually like express a negative, that's just a much stronger negative. And then so and then there's another relational mode, which for right now I'm just calling it like the aggressive mode, because it's very much the opposite. Instead of like initiating a little bit and like sort of asking for permission, you basically just go until someone says stop. It's much more aggressive, but also usually you get a lot farther. I think there's like context in which it makes more sense to use it. So we were in the club, and there was we're obviously there to meet people, you know, um, like men, I guess. And so here's the thing: like, step back the window. It's only like super windy up here. The thing is that like in a normal sort of like reciprocal relational mode, like usually like if if I'm trying to connect with these girls, I would look at them and they would sort of like look back, like make eye contact back long enough to sort of like signal that they are aware that I'm looking, and also like give an affirmation, right? Like it's like a nod, you know, like come over here, talk to me. And none of these girls would do that, and I was like really sort of confused by it, because I was like, dude, you're just making this like really complicated and difficult, where like I have to like use essentially like a lot more force, or at least like in any other context it would actually be rude to approach without getting the nod first. But but it was obviously like there were rules there that I wasn't aware of because it was like everyone was doing it. They were all doing the same thing. Like they basically like ignore you, or it's not ignore you. Like they would look at you, but they wouldn't like give the nod, you know. And so I guess I'm gonna walk back down here. Anyway, so this got me thinking a lot, and basically what I realized is that like in the aggressive mode, um, that's what it is. It's like if people are there with their friends, it might not even be their friends. It just might just be they're there with sympathetic people around them. Then essentially what they have is like enough social support to defend against any um, like person who aggressively approaches them. And so like I think what you're supposed to do in the club as a man, and maybe not just as a man, like in any social situation where like you don't know how to sort of break in, is that like if there's a group of people, then you can just sort of like throw yourself into that social situation, take the brakes off, because especially in the club, like girls like circle up. They create like a defensive formation. They are dancing together really closely, and it's not. I think that they don't want you to approach. It's that it sort of like creates like a moat. Like in order to approach, you cannot do it with low energy. You have to do it with really high energy, and it sort of forces a really positive interaction. Like it's very polarizing. It forces a very positive interaction. But actually, like once you know it, once you understand it, I think it actually makes it kind of easier for you as a man to approach, because you don't have to do this sort of like slow call and response thing where you're slowly inching forward. Instead, you can just like bust in there. You know, like I was thinking of it like you are sort of like a bowling ball, trying to sort of like knock them over. I don't know if that analogy is good, but it's very much like you just want to go in with super high energy and um, and see if you're well received. And if you're not, like basically you can't do any permanent damage with your words in a situation like that, because they have the social support. They have like a supporting network. They can, and also like if you do something they don't like, they can inflict psychological damage basically. Um, so yeah, it's like it's safe for them, and you can just go hard. And so actually, like I think that these two like social modes probably correspond with the ethical systems that the absolute and relativistic ethical systems. I think that there is like very likely a strong correlation there, or at least like I think that the absolute. I'm going to do a video about this, but the absolute ethical system produces individualism, and the relativistic ethical system produces collectivism. And also, like these are two sort of conversational modes that are also sort of like indirect results of those two ways of thinking. Although I think it might be that um, as an individual talking with another individual, you're always going to want to use like a more reciprocal conversational mode. But if it's you, an individual, talking with a group of people, or like really just like a group of people that you haven't talked with before, then you're going to want to be more effective. But that's what makes it safe for you, is the fact that you are one against many, and you can't really do damage on your own. And so like that's so yeah, you just like take off all stops and go hard, and don't look back. I don't know. So like this is something I've only been thinking about for a couple days, and so I'm not 100% sure about it. But this is I don't know, the biggest update in the last few days. So I just want to share. And yeah, now I am going to. I don't know. It's starting to rain, so I might need to change how I'm going to get to where I'm going to go. There's a couple of events today. I want to get out of the house, so I'm going to go out. And yeah, that's all.